Communities are created through relationships, which is why we made it possible for you to track and manage relationships within your nation. In this video, we'll cover setting up paths, logging contact, and using filters to make sure folks aren't slipping through the cracks. Step 1. Set up a path. The first tool that can be helpful in tracking relationships are paths, as they can serve as a map of where a relationship currently stands. A path is a step-by-step workflow to get people to complete a chain of actions. Paths define reasons for engaging supporters and creating alignment and accountability within an organization. You can set up paths by editing default paths or creating your own. Editing a default path is the easier of the two options. To edit a default path, navigate to the People section. Click on the Path Picker button. Find a path that will closely fit your needs and click Edit. You will be taken to the Path Settings screen. Edit the name of the path. If you want to allow a due date for the path, check the box next to Enable Expected Completion Date. You can also set a default expected completion date if the workflow should generally take the same amount of time. The date is set relative to when the path is started. If you want to allow control panel users to add a monetary value for path completion, check the box next to Enable Values. You can set up a default path value to any positive amount, including up to 2 decimal places. If one control panel user is responsible for completing this particular path, select the person from the Assign Path To drop-down menu. This is particularly useful if the workflow is always handled by the same person. For example, the fundraising coordinator may be responsible for cultivating new donors. This allows you to hold that person accountable for path completion metrics. If multiple people are responsible, leave this option blank. Each time a path is created on a profile, a unique control panel user can be assigned to path completion. Click the Save Path button. Next, you'll create steps on the path. First, give the step a name. Set up due date for. This is optional. The step due date indicates when the step should be completed. Due date options are the same for an entire path, anything from the same day to 30 days later. Assign step 2. This is also optional. Assign the step to a control panel user. For example, if the fundraising coordinator decides which supporters should be targeted for a new donor campaign, they should be assigned this step. If multiple people are responsible for a particular step, leave this option blank. Each time a path is created on a profile, the default assignment can be changed or removed. Click Create Step. Existing steps are listed at the bottom of the page. Hover over the step to display or click on the Edit button. You can also click on the list icon and drag the steps to reorder. Click the arrow to delete the step. Now you can set up a page to automatically add someone to a path through taking an action on your website. In this case, I'm going to set my volunteer page to automatically add folks to my volunteer path. First, go to Website, select your site, find the page you wish to add this to, and click the Edit button next to the name. Navigate to the Settings section of your page and find Basics. Check the Add to Path checkbox. Select the path you'd like to automatically add people to. In this case, I'd like all people who take an action on my volunteer page to be added to my Become a Volunteer path. You can also choose the specific step, assign a step, or add a due date. If you don't input any of these, the system will default to adding folks to step 1. Click Save. Now, when people take action on that page, they'll be added to the path. You'll be able to view the path on their profile. You can click on the path steps to move them forward on the path. As you're moving people forward on paths, you can log contact to record notes on their profile. This allows everyone at your organization to better understand your relationship with them in relation to and beyond what path step they may be on. More on that next. Step 2. Log contact. Logging contact with individuals helps you and others in your organization understand the entire journey of your relationship with a person. So, if Sally asks John about potentially volunteering, and a week later I'm doing outreach to get volunteers for an event, I can see John is willing and I can make the ask. Click on People, select the person, and click Log Contact under the Dashboard tab. Notes. Usually you'll want to include a summary of the interaction as a note. Notes should be as detailed as possible to ensure everyone has access to the same information regarding the person's interaction with your nation. Be aware that you can record a private note on a profile without logging a contact by clicking on the word Note next to Log Contact. Contact method. This is how the person was contacted. Contact status. This is the results of the contact. Log to path. This is why the person was contacted. If the person already has active paths, the path drop-down menu will only include those paths. The engagement will be recorded on the current step. If the person does not have any active paths, the path drop-down menu will include all paths in your nation. When the engagement is recorded, it will be included on the first step of the path selected. The path will then display as active on the person's profile, and the person will be placed on the first step of the path. There is no limit to the number of contacts that can occur on each step of a path. Click on the person's name was contacted button to record the contact. Now this contact is recorded on the profile for anyone with access to view. Step 3. Use filters to make sure people aren't slipping through the cracks. Interactions between people build and sustain communities. There are a variety of filters you can use to find people on a path in your nation to ensure they're being engaged, but without being overwhelmed. For example, here's a filter looking for people who are on my Become a Volunteer path who haven't been contacted at all. Here's a filter looking for people who are on my Become a Volunteer path who haven't been contacted in the last month. You can also use the Path Picker and Sort By drop-downs to select a variety of views to filter for groups of people on a specific path. Now you're a relationship expert. Using these tools will create a solid foundation to build your community on.